some devastating news, I would say, but I don't think it was unexpected given the time period of the season. Caitlin Clark announced on her social media that she will miss the rest of the season. She captioned it in short, in part. I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with a singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. She was limited to 13 games this season.
Candace Parker just said the thing the WNBA never wanted out loud. Caitlin Clark shutting it down for the year isn't only a hit to Indiana, it's a gut punch to the entire league. And now, rumors of Clark walking away for good are starting to swirl. The WNBA thought it had time. Wrong. If Caitlin Clark quit tomorrow, what would become of the league? Let's get into this, because it's a storm the WNBA can't cover up anymore. Caitlin Clark, in just her second year as a pro, sidelined with injuries, groin, leg, everything piling up, and now officially out for the season. She's frustrated. She's disappointed. And honestly, she's far too gracious in how she puts it. Fans can read between the lines. Though, this isn't only about missing a season. It's about the grind, the pressure, and the league's failure to protect its brightest star.
She was limited to 13 games this season, and she hasn't played since July 15th when she suffered a right groin injury in the final minute of the Fever's win versus the Sun right before the All-Star game.
I mean, that's our girl. You know, that's our girl. And I feel like no matter what happened, you have to protect you and you have to protect your career. There's no reason to force anything. And I feel like her just kind of having that approach of doing what's best for her is all we can ask for, because we'd rather Caitlin sit out and then come back next season and we're ready to roll and we're ready to rock. And so we've just been supporting her and she's been supporting us. She's always there. We're getting to watch film and she's in there walking through saying, hey, and we're like, get out, go do what you need to do. But I mean, she's still the same. And I feel like our approach, because we've been missing her for so long, is just to come in and compete. And we have a good rhythm, I think, with everyone that's came in. And so just keeping that as our main focus.
Now Candace Parker, who knows more than a little about injuries, stepped forward and basically said, yes, Clark made the right call shutting it down. And she's right. Parker admitted that late in her own career, she pushed her body too far. That choice came with a price. So she looked at Clark and said it plain, don't repeat my mistake. Don't let playoff pressure from the league drag you back too soon. Honor your body.
Focus.
Well, Coach Steph White had said that they were hopeful that Clark would return by the end of the regular season, but Caitlin was unable to fully reincorporate back into practice. And, you know, she had never missed a game in her collegiate career or first year in the WNBA. So this is definitely a blow, I'm sure, for the organization, but also for her. Fever went 8-5 when Clark played and 15-15 without her. You all did win the Commissioner's Cup for the first time in franchise history without her, so maybe that is also another precursor. But big picture from the outside looking in, I have been a player that has had a number of injuries, and I think later in my career...
But here's the reality. This isn't only about Clark's body. It's about the future of the WNBA itself. The league has leaned on her like a crutch. Attendance, ratings, merchandise, everything surged because of her. The WNBA got its first real taste of cultural relevance, and it all came from one player. Just one. And now that player is sidelined, posting injury updates from home. So let's ask the uncomfortable question. What happens if Caitlin Clark says, you know what? I'm finished. What if she decides her health, her career, and her future mean more than dragging an injured leg across hardwood for a league that won't even shield her from reckless fouls night after night? The fallout would be nuclear. Fans didn't pack arenas this year out of sudden loyalty to the WNBA brand. They came for Clark. They wanted her name on their jerseys. They wanted her highlights on their feeds. They wanted her records lighting up the internet. Remove Clark from the story, and you're staring once again at empty seats and forgotten streams nobody's clicking.
And taking the time. And there is a difference in being a role player and coming in and playing a role and coming in off of an injury. There is a rhythm. But when you are Caitlin Clark and you have the ball in your hands and you are on the other team's scouting report, to come in half and not be able to be in that amount of I would say, shape rhythm of the game, because the rhythm of the game changes towards the end of the year. And so when it started getting closer to the end of the regular season, I was like, it's dangerous to come back during playoff basketball, because the whole flow, the physicality, all of that is different. And so I know it's difficult to kind of take time and understand the big picture, especially when you're living with tunnel vision and you've worked so hard to get to where you're at, but it's the smart thing. And I'm proud of this generation for taking the time they need, looking at the bigger picture, and making sure that they get healthy. So, Caitlin Clark, hope you feel better. You have a great off season.
And let's be honest, the WNBA already danced with disaster by refusing to protect her on the floor. Night after night, defenders slammed into her like it was hockey. Elbows flying, shoves landing, trash talk going way past the line. The refs, blind as always. The league, silent as always. They brushed it off as just part of competition. And now, their golden ticket is stuck in sweats on the sidelines while the playoffs roll on. Bravo. Well done. Candace Parker understands the bigger picture. She even spelled it out. Playoff basketball is tougher, quicker, meaner. That's not when you bring a star back from injury. You don't take a Ferrari to a demolition derby. But the WNBA wanted her back anyway. They wanted her forcing shots, dragging her body, anything to spike their numbers. And that's where instant regret sets in, because Caitlin Clark is smart enough to see through it. She knows she doesn't actually need the WNBA. The WNBA needs her. She could walk away tomorrow, slide into broadcasting, land sponsorships, dominate overseas, even build her own brand from scratch, and she'd be just fine. The league? Dead weight. No sugarcoating it. The WNBA is a charity case still leaning on the NBA. Decades of trying to grow, and the only real growth spurt came the moment Clark stepped in. A second-year pro, barely 2 seasons deep, carrying them harder than any commissioner's speech or glossy campaign ever could. And that's why the quit the league whispers feel a lot more real than anyone wants to admit. Fans are already testing it. You've seen it online. If Clark's not playing, I'm not watching. That's not loyalty to the league, it's loyalty to her. And if she pulls the plug, those same fans unplug right with her. That's instant regret in real time. And Candace Parker's warning hits harder because it isn't just for Clark, it's aimed squarely at the WNBA. She's telling them straight up, respect your players. Stop grinding them into the ground. Stop dragging them back too soon. Because Clark isn't a role player. She's not the 10-minute sub. She's the engine, the headline on every scouting report. And if she's not at full strength, she shouldn't be out there at all. Parker basically nodded, good call, Clark. You actually saw it. But here's the real twist. This isn't only about health, it's about trust. Clark poured herself into the game, even while rehabbing. Hours in the gym, every single day, pushing for a return. You could hear the frustration lace through her words. But then she turned and thanked the fans. Notice who never got thanked. The league, the refs, the higher-ups. Nope, just fans and teammates. That says everything, because while the fans showed up, the league never did for her. And that's why this Clark quits talk feels real. She already knows the WNBA won't protect her. So why keep playing a crooked game? And let's be honest, rivals would be drooling if she bolted. Picture Clark in Europe, tax-free pay, fewer games, whistles actually blowing in her favor. Or bigger still, stepping outside basketball into media, endorsements, nil-style ventures for the next generation. She could build something larger than the WNBA itself. And the league? Left choking on regret. But here's the rewind. The Clark story isn't in isolation. This league has had star problems before. Angel Reese making headlines for drama, players griping over travel, pay, basic facilities. The WNBA has always been almost there, but never quite there. And then Clark arrived. Fans stormed in, and for a moment, it looked like the cracks vanished. They didn't. Clark's injury just yanked the curtain back down. Candace Parker's generation lived this same nightmare. She even admitted it, playing through pain, pushing her body past the limit. All for a league that never gave enough in return. And now she's basically telling Clark, don't let history repeat itself. The fact that Parker, retired, respected, adored, has to say this out loud tells you the league never learned a thing. And here's the kicker. the WNBA will probably roll out some polished PR statement about player safety or supporting Caitlyn's recovery. Please, fans aren't blind. They saw the hits she took. They saw refs swallow their whistles. They saw the league cash checks while Clark limped off the court. No press release can cover that up. So yeah, Clark quitting isn't some wild rumor. It's a real possibility. And if she does it, instant regret slams the WNBA like a wrecking ball. The merch sales vanish. The packed arenas vanish. The viral highlights vanish. Suddenly, they are back to irrelevance, back to begging ESPN for 30 seconds between golf highlights. And maybe, just maybe, losing Clark is the only thing that could finally shake the league awake. But if we're being honest, their track record says otherwise. Think about it. This isn't the first time the WNBA has leaned too heavily on one star. They did it with Diana Taurasi. They did it with Candace Parker. They did it with Maya Moore. And now they are doing it with Clark. But here's the difference. Clark isn't just another star. She's the star. She's the one who dragged millions of new eyes to this league. You cannot afford to lose her, but they might. And the cracks are already showing. Her social media post looked polite on the surface, but the frustration was dripping between every single word. She said she was disappointed not to return this season. Let's be real, disappointed doesn't even scratch the surface. For a competitor like Clark, that felt a lot more like betrayal. She did her part. She put in the work. She gave the league the best storyline they've ever had. And what did she get back? Cheap shots, missed calls, a wasted season. And let's not forget, this isn't year one. She's not a rookie anymore. This is year two. This is the point where the hype should have stabilized into dominance. Year two was supposed to be Clark's lead. The moment she wasn't just the hot story, but the undeniable force headlining every playoff highlight reel. Instead, she's in street clothes, sidelined, while the WNBA is stuck with a giant arrow painted across its season. And let's be blunt, if Caitlin Clark walks away, the fallout is nuclear. Ratings collapse. Arenas empty out. Sponsors get angry. And the league is left scrambling to explain how they let the biggest draw in women's basketball slip right through their fingers. That's instant regret. The only way to stop it is simple. Start treating Clark like the superstar she is. Not just in glossy marketing campaigns, but on the court, in the officiating, in the rules, in the actual support around her career. Here's the problem, though. The WNBA has never been good at protecting its stars. They've only been good at exploiting them, squeezing every drop of visibility, sponsorship, and ticket sales they can get. But when it comes to protecting their stars, their bodies, their health, even their reputations, the league has always been a step behind. And Clark, she's learning that lesson faster than most. Candace Parker practically begged her to think long-term. She didn't sugarcoat it. She said playoff basketball is the worst time to come back. Too physical, too fast, too dangerous. And she was right. She even admitted she was proud Clark didn't rush it, which sounds like a compliment. But really, it's a warning. Because Clark had every reason to cave. The pressure, the hype, the endless spotlight. And yet, she chose herself over the league. That one decision tells you everything. It means she sees the bigger picture. And you can't ignore the fans in this equation. The same people who filled arenas just to watch Clark are the ones now asking themselves, why even tune in if she's not out there? That's the dangerous question the WNBA doesn't want echoing, but it is louder every single day she sits out. And this isn't an Angel Reese flash poem that burns hot for a weekend. This isn't a travel policy headline or some charter flight debate. No, this is the WNBA's crown jewel sitting on the bench while Candace Parker all but says, yeah, this is for the best. That's not just news. That's a crisis. So now the league stands at a crossroads. Step up, protect the investment, protect the star, prove they can actually handle success. I'll sit back and watch Caitlin Clark walk away, carrying their future right out the door. Because here's the truth, Clark isn't naive. She knows her worth. She knows she's bigger than the league itself. And the second a player understands the league needs them far more than they need the league, everything changes. The balance of power tilts. And the WNBA, they are not built for that kind of shift. Because let's be real, when Candace Parker retired, it hurt. When Sue Bird retired, it hurt. But the league found a way forward. With Clark, you don't recover. You don't just move on. You crumble. So here's the big sarcastic bow on top. Congratulations, WNBA. You begged for a superstar. You finally got one. And then you let her get hacked, bruised, and broken until she's sidelined for the playoffs. And now you're staring straight into the nightmare. What happens if she never comes back? Spoiler alert, the regret hits instantly. Here's the bottom line. Caitlin Clark's injury shut the WNBA up, but her walking away would shut it down. And if the league doesn't start treating her health and her worth like they matter, that day might arrive sooner than they think. What about you? Do you think Clark could really walk away for good? Drop your thoughts.